Welcome to yet another episode of Applied Salesforce. In this episode, we will be building a micro project which helps display the profiles. We essentially build a component like this, right? So, which helps you to display profiles of certain people. And it also drives home concepts around public properties and also helps you understand how would you pass object data from a parent component into the child component. So without much ado, let me flip out to the code. Let's look at the child components JavaScript. So a couple of important things to note here is the API, import the API decorator from LWC module. And second thing is to define a public property named date to display. We call this as a public property because you decorate it with at API, right? So public reactive property. And it essentially takes as input an object with these properties. So name, wealth, age, height, weight, build, and complexion. Okay, you could see this. This is how it takes. Okay, takes the input. The HTML here uses the lightning tile. Okay, grouping of which helps you to display grouping of related information as the official definition associated with the record. Right, so it is the important thing here is the avatar that you see here. Each one is an avatar, and it pulls the image from the static resource that you define as part of the parent component. Okay, and other things so wealth, age, height, weight, and build attributes would also get displayed, as you could see here. Right, so wealth, age, height, weight, and type, the build type. Okay, so this essentially sums up the child component. Let me take you through the parent components JavaScript. Okay, here the important thing to note is you define a reference to the static resource. Let me flip over to the static resource. The static resource is date avatars, and it's defined this way. Inside of LWC static resources, I've defined a zip file called date avatars. Inside that, I have three folders. The images folder is something that we have used here. So this contains the files, the profile files that gets essentially pulled into this definition, right? So dates to display definition. So dates to display is an array, and each one of these are the profile objects. And important thing to note here is how the URL is defined. So I've used the little text, the text literal here to define the paths to the images, right? So date avatars that we have imported, that's a reference to the static resource here, and the path to the specific image. Okay, and HTML uses the lightning card that you see behind the scenes here, and it uses the for each iteration and the running variable defined as date profile. Important thing here is how you nest your child component, right? So when you nest a child component, you use the kebab case. C stands for the namespace, and project O2 show date is the name of the child component. All right, so this is this should be in the kebab case, and similarly, the child component's public property date to display is also included. All right, so you are referencing the child component's public property in kebab case, and here you pump in the object, right? So this date profile as a running variable contains one object at a time for each iteration, and that's pumped into the child component's property. Okay, and this essentially sums up the code. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.